Old Commandments and the New Commandments. I'm getting some feedback. 1 second. Let me take something out here real quick. Trying to find out why I'm getting this feedback. It's coming from my system. So just bear with me 1 minute for me to get this worked out here. Testing. So yeah, I see this actually worked out here. That we was getting some feedback here, and I didn't know why I was getting all that feedback. But we're looking at the Old Commandments versus the New Commandments. Now, this is something that is really strange for a lot of people. However, we are taught in churches from our time of being young that the Old Commandments, and it has New Commandments in the Bible. In fact, they will tell you that the Old Commandments are done away with, including they was given only to the Levites. So when Yahushua, what they like to explain, when Yahushua came on the scene, he fulfilled the Old Commandments. So now we only under grace. This is what they say. See, in fact, we're going to look at something and we're going to get some understanding there on what's happening. See, because in Matthew 5:17, and this is what they like to use, it says, with Yahushua, he says, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. Meaning, he didn't come to do anything to alter, to change anything according to the law, or anything that the prophets came in what they stated in all their books. He didn't come to change any of that. He said, I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. However, they're not understanding what he came to fulfill, but they're using the fulfill to say that he came to fulfill the law. So once he fulfilled the law, you don't no longer have to do them. Is that true? See, that's the catch. Is that true? Which it makes no sense, but that's what they're going to hold to. That's what they're going to hold you to. And if that's true, then we have to follow according to what he says in what Peter says over here in 1 Peter 2:21. He says, even hereunto ye are called, because Christ suffered for us, leaving us an example. He left us an example that we should follow in his steps. So, if that's true, it's all in the Bible, so we know it's true. We have some problems. Because they are following something, and they following more men than anything. See, let's look at something. We're going to go to Acts, because they use a lot of different scriptures to pull you far from the truth. So we're going to look at Acts chapter 10, verse 11. We're going to look at something else where they said, they said the law was fulfilled, which Yahushua did. They used this here. He says, and this is what happened to Peter, and it says, and saw heaven open, who Peter, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it has been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth. And this is what's going on. Now watch this, verse 12. Wherein all manner of four-footed beasts. So what they tell you is all manner of unclean beasts. But it's telling you here all manner of four-footed beasts. So again, we have people who walks into churches saying that they have an understanding, but they miss this here. But it goes on more. It's the beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And then it says here, and there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill, and eat. Rise, Peter, kill, and eat. Now they use this same scripture here, and they say this is where God cleaned all animals. They use this. This is what Christian doctrine uses. You can hear it all the time. They'll tell you right here, God cleaned all animals. But let's drop down to verse 14. Let's see how Peter responded to God. And it says, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. But he gets better. He said, and the voice spake unto him again a second time, which God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Now they're using this where they're saying God is talking about animals to where you can now consume them. God was so concerned about what you was eating, and now he's saying you can eat these animals. He wanted to make sure, because as he coming, he's saying, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make sure they can eat these pigs. I'm going to make sure they can eat this catfish. I'm going to make sure they can eat anything that's unclean. Now I'm going to make sure they can eat them. This is what they're saying. But we need to find out what's going on. So in verse 15 it says, and the voice spake again the second time, and God hath cleansed that call not thou common. Verse 16, this was done thrice. It was done 3 times, and the vessel received up again to heaven. Now watch what happens. Verse 17. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean. But was this clear? It was spoken up here at the top. If it was clear what God has cleansed, why is Peter thinking on what this vision he has seen should mean? He had to think on what this vision he has seen should mean. Why? Because Peter understands the law. He understands clean and unclean. Because when we look at Leviticus and we check this, and sin in the law, chapter 11, verse 47, it makes it clear where we're going to understand one thing and why Peter made the statement that he made. And it tells you right here in verse 47, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, between the beasts that they may be eaten and the beasts that may not be eaten. So why do people sit there and do these things? Because this is what we know. We want to get a foundational understanding to where we can make sure we clearly won't make no mistakes. We're going to go to Psalms 89, common verses that we run to. 89:34, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that has gone out of my lips. So if he told Peter to rise, Peter, kill, and eat, and Peter saying, not so, Lord. Not so, Lord. And God said, what he has cleansed, thou shalt not call common. Then Peter had to think on that. So evidently, if we talking about over here in Leviticus chapter 11, God is speaking about, talking about what you can eat and what you cannot eat. He's speaking about something different over there with Peter in Acts. He's talking about something different. Why? Because God said he's not going to alter anything that has gone out of his lips. So either you're going to believe a man, what he's saying, or God lied. It's one of the two. So if you're sitting there, if a man say, well, God still did this in his way and he did this in his divine way where he came down to fulfill something, is what we've seen just with Matthew 5:17. They said he fulfilled it to where you can do it. Still, what will happen is when you come to this verse 34 in chapter 89 of Psalms, God lied. I don't care how we look at it. God lied, if that's true. In fact, we'll go to Malachi, where God makes these statements, to where we're going to clearly get this clear understanding on what is happening. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, and he says this again, for I am the Lord, I change not. So if he's not going to alternate, he didn't change anything, how is it that Christ came on the scene with the time and rested upon Yahushua, and now he fulfilled, they say, the law? And if he fulfilled, they say, the law, and Peter seeing this sheet as it was coming down, and it had all manner of four-footed beasts, and he said, rise, Peter, kill and eat. Tell me, if that was talking about food, then these two pieces right here, God lied. God lied. We also know here, in Hebrews, we're going to check everything to make sure that we can't get around this. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8. Yahushua the Messiah, the same yesterday and today and forever. Because he don't change. I'm Elder Michael Johnson with the Lost Sheep of Israel. And today we're going to go through an interesting teaching today to understand what was being said. So, we trying to get this understanding here. So, including in the doctrine what they teach that Yahushua, they teach that he was 100% man and he was 100% God. This is what they teach. And they say that this man had to come and he had to fulfill something that 100% man could not do. You have to keep this in mind. God came and he had to, what they say, turned into flesh to fulfill something that he put some requirements on a people that they cannot fulfill. They couldn't fulfill his law. This is what we have to check out. But I'm going to invite you to where we're going to look at these. We're going to look at these things as we go through to where we can understand what goes on. But as we could not fulfill these things, then we need to find out and how to explain certain ones. Because in Genesis chapter 5 verse 22, and Enoch walked with God and begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. He walked with God. He was fulfilling these things. He was fulfilling the requirements of God. But better yet, we'll go to chapter 6 and let's look at verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with God. But people will sit there and challenge that. And they'll say, well, he just walked with God. But this still don't mean that they was fulfilling the commandments of God. This is what people will say. This is what the challenge is many times, and what we have to look at and really understand what is happening all the time. So we're going to look at Luke chapter 1 and verse 5. We're going to look at that, and it tells you here. It says, there was in the days of Herod the king of Judea a certain priest named Zacharias in the course of Abib, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. So we have Zacharias, we have Elizabeth. One priest, Elizabeth, was from the daughters of Aaron. Verse 6. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. Wow. But they tell you that you couldn't fulfill them. So if they couldn't fulfill them and he had to come and do this, he was 100% man and 100% God, how were they doing this? What about Israel as a whole? See, this is where you've been taught by people who's telling you something who do not know and understand how the book actually even works. Because they say, well, God don't respect people. He don't respect people who doing those commandments. But we got to look at Exodus chapter 2 and verse 25. 2:25. What do they say, and how can this help us out to understand God? It said here, and God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. God had respect unto the children of Israel. It don't say a few of them, but it was talking about them as a whole, as Israel. He had respect unto them. God had respect unto Israel, not for not keeping the commandment, for them keeping the commandments. Are you following me? Are we seeing this as it goes through? Are we understanding how this is working out? Because in Deuteronomy, this is why it even says this, and we look at everything as a whole. We're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 24. And it tells us again where it makes it also clear. Because he had respect unto Israel. Why? Because in the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he may preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he commanded us. So God, did he command us to have to? See, God is not to have or have not was commanded of us, but we to do all of them back then. That was being keeping righteous, keeping the vow which we made with God. The commandment on the vow, on what we made sure we had to keep. God presented this to Moses, and Moses presented this to us. And it says, now therefore, if, providing we obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. For all the earth is mine. So now today, if someone attempts to live according to the vow that was made, according to the Old Testament per se, they want to say, then even as we are all off and will not be under grace. Did you follow what I'm saying? See, if we follow the Old Testament as what they say, and keep the vow that God made, we do know God said he don't change. We do know God said he's not going to alter nothing. God said all these things. We just looked at them. And what people say is, if we seek to fulfill what God said, and we break one of them, we're going to be guilty of them all, one, and Yahweh shall fulfill them. To all we have to do now is live under grace. Is live under grace. So how does that look? See, the doctrine that is more than 99.9% taught in all churches today runs on this methodology. Meaning, if you don't live under grace and you're only living under the commandments of God, and you break one, you're guilty of them all. So you can't do them. So if you do the commandments that's labeled in the Old Testament, then you are going to be doomed to hell because you can't fulfill them. But we've seen results already in the New Testament where people were doing them as well as in the Old Testament. But this is the one that they use. We want to use this. We want to look at it to where we can use it. Because we have to understand how this all works out in the lie that they push. So we're going to look at James chapter 2 and verse 10 and see how this works out. And it says, for whosoever keep the whole law, here it is, whosoever keep the whole law, and yet offend one point is guilty of all. This is what they do. Here, as James stated, if we keep the whole law and yet offend one, we're guilty of breaking all of them. Guilty of breaking all of them. Offend in the same manner as he said, offend is to be guilty or to transgress or to stumble, to fall from, to displease, to harm, to make one to offend. Let's look. We're going to tell you what. That's better yet. Let's look at an example to help us bring us a little bit closer to what the point I want to make to you. We're going to look at Jeremiah chapter 2 in verse 2. He says this. It says, go and cry into the ears of Jerusalem, saying, thus said Yahweh, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, and to love thine espousal, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, in the land that was not sown. What is this saying? Well, let's understand some of it. So we have to remember the love and kindness. The love thy espousal by one's truth. So the period of engagement is the espousal. The period of engagement preceding would be marriage. Espousal to brothel, to promise by one's truth. That's all this is saying. This will show you the spiritual connection between Yahweh and his people, the ones who are brotheled. However, we went into the land and where we are was not sown. Meaning the sense of the scattered seeds in knowledge and planting that's indicated the general knowledge of God. Are you following? He said it was not sown there. He's making this clear. He's telling you clearly it was not sown at all. So let's look at something. We'll come back over here, but we're going to see how this works out. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 13, pick it up at verse 19. And let's understand something. It says, when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then come the wicked one that catches away that which was sown in his heart. In his heart. That which receives seed by the wayside. So the land was not sown. And it was not sown, I guess, evidently good into your heart. So as verse 3 it says, Israel holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruits of his increase all that devour him shall offend. Wow. Evil shall come upon them, saith the Lord. Evil shall come up upon them, saith the Lord. Thine espousal, he's clearing here. Meaning we need to be espoused to God. We'll go with the Hosea. Get a little bit more understanding. Get some more understanding to understand how we need to be all the time. Hosea chapter 2 verse 19, and it says this. And I will brothel thee. I will brothel thee unto me forever. Yea, I will brothel thee unto me in righteousness, and in judgment, and in loving kindness, and in mercies. The Most High God will brothel only Israel to himself in righteousness, and in his judgment, and in his loving kindness, and in his mercies. God delights in his law. God places his name in the land, as we can even see in where, let's go to 2 Chronicles just to make sure we clearly understand what's going on. 2 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 6. He says, but I have chosen Jerusalem that my name might be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people Israel. This is where his name is. It's where his name is. Everything that we have to do, we want to prove everything to where there won't be no mistakes anywhere. That's why we're doing this. This is why we're doing it in this manner. This is why we're making sure we look at it in this manner. Only Israel will be brought unto faithfulness based on a promise keeping of God that he made. So God's attraction to us is God seeking that woman he described she is to be, built according to the commandments of God. Or is it built to the new commandments or the old commandments, or the new commandments and the new commandments? You see how confusing that people get this, but we have to straighten all this out to make sure that every person could understand what is old commandments and what are new commandments. We have to know these things. Why? Because if not, God would be unjust. So he had to place this in the book to where we can understand it. But people just tell you you're under grace. Makes no sense. They're telling you something that's not true. So let's look at this, and we're going to go through it. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah, and he makes some statements here. 1 second, I just went a little bit too far. Isaiah chapter 62. And we're going to pick it up at verse 4. And it says, thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall thy land be no more termed desolate, but thou shalt be called, what? Hasabah. In thy land, Belula. And the Lord delighted in thee, and the land shall be married. The land shall be married. Are we serious? The land has to be married. Now, this is the catch part. Hephzibah. We have to understand palliation and what they mean. If we don't know what they mean, we don't know what he's talking about. Because he said, thou should be called Hephzibah. Why? Well, what is he saying? It's saying, and what that means, and when we look at it as a whole, it's saying, my delight rests in her. My delight rests in her. But the land we call Beulah is being married. Makes sense now, don't it? That's why he's saying that. It says, but thou shalt be called my delight. Rest in her. In thy land shall be in thy land married. Are you following this? He actually just repeats it right here. But let's look at John. Let's look at something. We got to look at this and get the understanding of what's going on. So we're going to go to John chapter 14. And we're going to look at this. Chapter 14, verse 17. And it says, even the Spirit of truth whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you and shall be in you. So the Spirit of truth shall be with us. And the Holy Ghost is resting upon the truth of Israel, Hephzibah. Keep that in mind. Rest in her, which is also telling you about Luke, is another one where we got to make sure, chapter 2, verse 22, to understand how all this is working out. When the days of purification, according to the law of Moses, were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Wow. Wow. Moses. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it? A servant who he is well pleased in. Because the Spirit was coming down and descending. And what happened? The land should be Beulah. But Beulah is a married woman cleaving to the flesh. Why is Adam, and why do we think Adam made that statement? That's why Adam made the statement he made even in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. He made the same statement that it was no difference. But most people not seeing it in the spiritual mind don't understand what it's saying. It says, therefore shall a man leave his mother and father, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. They should be one flesh. One flesh. Odd, isn't it? But let's look at it a little bit more. We're going to go a little bit deeper. Let's go and we're going to look at Exodus and get a little bit more information. Exodus chapter 3, verse 5. And watch what he says here. He says, and he said, draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from thy feet, from the place whereon thou standest on holy ground. Separated, married. Separated, married. Isaiah chapter 62, verse 5. For as a young man married a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall God rejoice over thee. Meaning this, that the virgin is going to be married to the man, and the man which is Israel is married to the land. The bridegroom rejoices over the bride, the same as true with the Israelites. So this is what he done. I have set watchmen upon the wall, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day or night. Ye shall make mention of the Lord, keep not silent. Interesting. Why? God has set watchmen over that land, to guard the city, over the land, to where we can't go back into it. But you have people going back into it. But God has set watchmen over it, and he made sure it was so. We got to see this. We got to look at it. We got to see how we hold to it. Meaning what? We got to see what's going on. Why did he do it in this manner? We're going to look at No, first let's go to Genesis. We're gonna go to chapter 9. I'm trying to see why this is holding up. If not, I use the other side. Let me see. There we go. Let me go to Genesis chapter 9. I don't know why it was holding up. Genesis chapter 9, verse 27. We're going to get down to 27, and it says, and God shall enlarge Pathon, persuade or deceive Japhet, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. He's going to dwell in the land of that actually belongs to Shem, and Canaan should be his servant. He's going to deceive Japhet. But he wants Japhet them there because he don't want us in the land. Why? Because we are continually to act like what? Heathens. So he placed what there? Bastards. Meaning this, we see this in Zechariah, which we understand why he did it this way. Because why he going to have us in the land and we acting as we are? In Zechariah chapter 9, verse 6, it says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, which is Jerusalem today, and will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Why did he do this? Why did he do this? He drove us out because we didn't know how to act as it was anyway. So why are we over there and we will be sinning and thinking we're righteous? But verse 7, it tells us in Isaiah 62, verse 7, he says, and give him no rest till he establish and till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Meaning what? We're not going to get no rest until we get ourselves right. We are called by the name of the land because we are married to the land where his name is. We will have no rest till we make Israel prize of the earth. Currently today, people believe that we are not the people. People believe in anything now. Because why? Because we're not in the land. We're not in the land, so they don't believe we're the people. Makes sense, don't it? Better yet, do we even act like the people? Look in the book and see, do we look and act like them? Do we have characteristics of people in the book? As a whole, do we have the characteristics of Israel? That's what I'm asking you. When you look at us as a whole, do we have the characteristics, the virtues of Israel that's in the book? No. We don't. But let's look at it a little bit more. Hosea chapter 2 verse 23. See, when we get our act right, he will do what he does. So this is what he says in Hosea chapter 2 verse 23. He makes this perfectly clear. He says, and I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God. See, we're going to be scattered to all four corners of this earth, which we are. And he will have mercy upon us where we receive no mercy. They will tell us we are not his people. He'll tell us we are his people. Are you following me? See, people sit there and say that we're not God's people. Why? We don't act like it. We don't act like it. Here's the complexity of the matter. The complexity of the matter is this. In Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 1, it gets even a little bit weirder in time. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 1, and it says this. It says, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Question mark. Shall he return to her again? If a man put away his wife, and she go from him, will she not be polluted? Let's look at that. Shall not the land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith the Lord. See, we're so quick to talk about people, talking about in women as a whole, and they plan this harlot, and most of them want to sit there and see how many men they can lay with. Women do this on a daily basis. Men do it. Let's see. I like him. I'm going to lay with him. Oh, I like her. I'm going to lay with her. Fools. Harlots. He's telling you right there, you're harlots, you're whores. Nothing more than playing a harlot, having many lovers in life, and he's saying the same thing here we're doing spiritually, because many of us running in and out of church buildings that they call churches, and that's a lie altogether. He don't reside in buildings made with hands, but they congregate still in ways where we ain't saying that we bring God there. You're still sinning against God, because he's saying that's not his. So you're going to make that fit your description, because that's what you want to do. You want to go to this building no matter what, so you'll sit there and say, well, we bring God there so we can congregate. You're still going against God. You're still sinning against God. Bringing in strange gods. These strange women, these strange wives, is not that evil? Is not that evil? See, polluting the land or the body, and you think that we will go back into Israel, with Israel, Jerusalem, and we'll be playing a harlot. You think you can do this? It's the same thing as even said. We got many dudes, we got a lot of women doing it now, where they'll sit there and they'll marry outside the nation. Polluting the body. Tell me this. Let's get some understanding. Can you plant tomatoes next to beans? No. The tomato would outshade the beans. Can you hook an ox up to a miniature pony and plow land? Can you put a lion in the cage with a leopard? Can you have a orangutan mate with a gorilla? Can you have a whale mate with a dolphin? Can an eagle mate with a hawk? See, this is the thing that we have to really look at. So you don't want, and everybody wants, I'm going to tell you the silliest thing in the world. You have people, when they go buy an animal, when they go buy a dog, they want a pure breed dog, don't they? You want a pure breed dog, but you want a mutt children. Meaning what? You want a mixed race child. But you want a pure breed pet bull. You want a pure breed Rottweiler. You want a pure breed Chihuahua. But you want a bastard child. You want a mixed breed. Pure breeds worth more. But you want a mixed up child. See, What blacks have to do with whites, or Mexicans have to do with anything else? Pure breeds is what God said from the beginning. However, we are acting like what? Dogs. Dogs. Let's look at this. Let's get a little bit deeper into it, because see, this is also in the law. See, I know people saying, well, why wonder why he's on it? Because this is also in the law. So we got to look at the law. We got to look at laws and understand what is going on and see how this works out. We're going to go to Ezra chapter 10 and pick it up at verse 1. And we're going to see Uncle Ezra and Uncle Idris. Uncle Ezra, one of the same person. It says, now when Uncle Ezra had prayed, and when he had confessed, weeping and casting himself down before the house of God, there assembled unto him out of Israel a very great congregation of men and women and children. Men and women and children. For the people weep very sore. And what happened? And Shechaniah, the son of Jaleel, the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Uncle Ezra, what did they say? We have trespassed, we have sinned, we have committed transgression against our God. What did they do? And we committed sin, and we have taken strange wives of the people of the land. We had taken strange wives when we came over here on ships. The people who brought us over here on ships, we had taken those same people and we married. We started marrying them. We started desiring them. People of this land. Now yet there is hope in Israel concerning this thing. It's hope. It's hope. How? Let's see. For that reason, let us make a covenant with our God. We got to make a covenant with our God and put away all the wives and such as are born of them. This is why you have a problem with, you have these Sakari camps and all them bastards all over the place over there. And they call themselves high priests and everything else. And it's telling you even here. Uncle Drew speaks about this even more. According to the counsel of my Lord, and those that tremble at the commandments of our God, and let it be done according to the law. So, what's the difference here? Did anything change? God said he don't change. Did anything change? God said he don't change. So why are we, and many of us have done this in what we have done? We have taken not only these strange wives, but we'll sit there and we'll go after strange wives, and we'll put away Israel wives to go after them. Men go after them for different reasons. They'll say, well, they have less lip. I don't get a lot of talk back. They're more docile. I can tell them whatever to do, they'll do it. Whatever I want them to do, they'll do it. Tell them, sit there, go do, you go to work while I be home. They'll do it. They're more docile. So since they this way, this is what I like to do. This is why I like them better. But you're putting away women of Israel, and you put them away. When the Bible clearly tells you, put away our wives, Israelite women is not speaking of strange women of the land. Clearly the Bible says this, and it was from the beginning, it was not so. This is why he was making this clear, and when we read it here in Matthew. Matthew, it tells us in chapter 19, verse 8, he tells us, and he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of our hearts. What? Because why did Moses command to give a writing of divorcement to put her away? Because of the hardness of your hearts. Suffer to put your wives, put away your wives. to put away your wife because of the hardness of your hearts. But watch what he says. But from the beginning, it was not so. From the beginning, it was not so. Why? Why? Let's look at it. Just like I said, we're not going to wiggle out of anything as we get this understanding to where we're going to come to the ending of this and understand what the law is. And we're going to look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. And go down and look at 24, and what do it say? It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. How can you separate your flesh? You tell me. If a man leave his mother and his father and cleave to his wife, they should be one flesh. A woman should be of the same stock, Israel of the same land, not mixing dirt or ground. This is the vow. So, what does this all mean? How does this all add up? It means this, because most of us are not going to follow this, and we're not going to do what we say. We got to do this according to the Spirit and what God is saying. Meaning what? Matthew chapter 10, verse 37. Meaning what? We're going to see. 37, he says, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth the son or daughter more than me, not worthy of me. This is what we do. See, many mistakes that we'll make, we'll sit there and we'll stay on that side and not do what God said. But if we made a vow with God, we got to keep our vow with God. So if you love them more than you love God, then you're not worthy of the kingdom of God. This is clear today. Then you're not worthy of the kingdom of God. See, he even tells you, he said, think not that I come to send peace on earth, but I came to send, but I came not to send peace, but a sword. He came here to separate. For I have come to set a man a variance against his father and against the daughters and against the mother and against the daughters-in-law, against the mother-in-laws. A man's foe shall be in his own household. Why did you do that? Why did you separate that? Who told you to do that? Did you do that on your own? Did Isaac, was he younger than Ishmael? Yes. Who told Abraham to go into go into Hagar? Sarah. Did Ishmael get sent away? Yeah. Did God say thy only son about Isaac? Yeah. See, when God makes a vow, you pay your vow. And if you don't pay your vow, then you're not worthy of him. You see, because most of us are going to pay vows to our children, to our wives, to our husbands, before we're going to pay them to God. And God is saying clearly here, and through Christ, he's saying this clearly here, if you love them more than you love him, then you're not worthy of him. So if you're not worthy of him, you're not worthy of going into the kingdom. He's making this clear. Meaning this, let's look at Sirach. We're going to look at Sirach, and we're going to go into Sirach, and we're going to look at something real there, really, really good for all of us, that'll help us all out. We're going to look at Sirach chapter 18, verse 22. And it says, let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time, and differ until death, to be justified. That's deep. That's what you call them finger poppings. That was deep. Why was this so deep? Because he's telling you, you cannot differ until death. Pay your vow to God. Stop listening to error in all women and men thinking it's okay to marry. And when the Jews has spoke and that we are sinning, including showing disobedience. Why? Why do we keep going back to this disobedience? Because we're going things according to what happened. Meaning this, we got to go right back to Exodus chapter 19, and we're going to start getting into the matter. See, because he tells you this, and you did this at your own will. It says, now therefore, for this reason, if you obey my voice, indeed, in what you're doing, and keep my covenant. So you have to keep the covenant. Now, he put the offer on. You didn't have to take it, and you took it. Why? Because your forefathers, this is what we inherited. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. We will do. We will do until when? Until when? Until death. To be justified. Until death, you're going to be justified. See, and people, they tell you these things in the churches, telling you, you can do these things, you can do whatever you want to do, and you say once that you believe in this and you believe in that the Lord is my Savior, and you believe in your heart and all this stuff that you do, and you're going to be saved. And right here it's telling you until death. But guess what? Yahweh Shai said the same thing. Yahweh Shai said the same identical thing. Let's look at it. Let's look at Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. Because this is what Christians don't understand. They're some of the dumbest people walking this earth. But the main thing is they'll sit there and tell you that they know the Bible. But it says this. Yahweh Shai said this. But he that's small that shall endure until the end. Until death, until the end, the same shall be saved. You have to do this to the end. And you endure this to the end. So this life is a lifelong vow. Not a day, not a week, or thinking you'll be saved by, oh, the Lord will be my Lord and Savior. And this is, no. It's not that. He's my Lord and Savior, and then you think you could. So he came, as he said, he came to separate everything. And when he's separating, you're going to be hated. Meaning this. See, this is what a lot of us don't want to do, because we don't want this to happen to us, per se. Meaning this. In Mark chapter 13, verse 13, it tells us this, and it makes it clear. And he said, and ye, who, you, and me, all of it, shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. So when you sit there and you pull in for the name's sake and you pull in the truth, you're going to be hated. I mean, people cut it loose from you. You can have Methodists, all these different types of dumb Christian doctrines come together, and they can congregate, but when you start putting Bible on them, they'll separate from you. It's automatic. Why? He said you should be hated by all men, not some of them, by all of them. But he that shall endure unto the end, again, you have to endure this to the end, the same shall be saved. How long? Until death. Meaning one must be practicing righteousness all the time, which goes right back to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24 and 25. But it gets a little scary from there. Why? Because the details are in the vow, and the Lord said, we will do, and it's for our good always to preserve us alive, and this is our righteousness. We keep the vow which God hath made. Keeping the vow of God. So with keeping the vow of God, he's going to have mercy upon you. Are you following this? Meaning this. So people think, and you got more than a billion Christians. You got more than a billion Christians. Watch this. You got more than a billion today. But watch this. Let's look at something. We got to look at Exodus chapter 34 and pick this up. Verse 7. So it says this. And Yahweh was doing this. He says what? We're going to look at something. Let's look at something. And the Lord descended in a cloud and stood at him there and proclaimed. He proclaimed something. We're going to see what he did. The name of the Lord. So we know this was Christ doing this. And the Lord passed before him. We're going to find out what that is too. And proclaimed the Lord God, one, merciful and gracious. Merciful and gracious. Long-suffering and abundant with goodness and truth. But here's your key. Keeping mercy, love for thousands. Not millions, surely not billions. Of each generation. You got more than a billion of these knuckleheads running around right now. Forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and by no means clear the guilty. We're going to find out what all this means. We're going to get all this together. Visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, upon the children's children, and until the third, into the fourth generation. Now this is the scary part. This is something I don't normally go into, but I have to go into it because you want to deal with the commandments? We're going to deal with the commandments. So he's saying thousands, not billions, not millions. But every generation, only 1,000 are poured out and are sealed. And we got stupid, ignorant fools teaching contrary. But we're going to get some understanding here today. We're here for understanding. So thousands from each generation will be saved. So we need to see how this works. We're going to see how this actually works today. I guarantee you don't see this nowhere. So let's look at something. Let's look at something, and I'm fulfilling something that I was asked to be done, and I said I don't have a problem doing it. I don't have a problem doing it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to show it to you today. We're going to go to Revelation chapter 7, verse 4. We're going to see how this actually works. So he said, I heard the number of them which were sealed. Now this is what even Jehovah's Christian witnesses use. And the number was 144,000, all of the tribes of the children of Israel. So, what does this mean and how do this breaks down? Let's look at this. Let's look at this. So, the same thing is don't trip. It stated nobody knew the answer back then. Same as today. But the challenge is this. The people today tell you all kind of silly things today because they don't know the answer. But you're going to get the answer today. Meaning this is the answer to all the things. So this is 144,000. 144,000. From each generation, it's 144,000 will be saved. And here's how it works. We're going to look at this how it works. And it says from the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. So we know here, when you look at this, I want you to stay with me because you're going to see something that's going to shock you half to death. And it's going to say from each generation, we're going to see where 12,000 from each of those tribes, from each generation, were saved. They were sealed. And here's that's how that works. Now watch this. And we're going to get right down here. And it says from the tribe of Asher, we're 12,000. From the tribe of Nephilim, we're sealed, 12,000. The tribe of Manasseh, we're sealed, 12,000. You see this? So each generation is going through, he's taking out 12,000. But watch how this works. We're going to go down from the tribe of Simeon, 12,000. From the tribe of Levi, we're sealed, 12,000. The tribe of Issachar, we're sealed, 12,000. The tribe of Zebulun, we're sealed, 12,000. The tribe of Joseph, we're sealed, 12,000. The tribe of Benjamin, we're sealed, 12,000. Now, after each generation, he's pulling out 12,000 from each generation, from each tribe. So, after this, I beheld. After this, we're going to get this understanding. And lo, a great multitude no man can number. Why? Because every generation, he has taken out 12,000 from each tribe. Now, you following it? And now, since he's done that, over the beginning of time until the end of time, this is what happens. So how you gonna number? Because 12,000 from each tribe was poured out. Every generation. Clear. Why? That's why you can number 12,000 with just 144,000. You can easily number that. But if you see 12,000 from every generation, you'll see 12,000 poured from each tribe for every generation from the beginning of time, even up until now. You can't number it. That's all he was saying. That's why he said, and after this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, not 144,000, which no man can number, of all nations. Now this is clear. So, and they was poured out, and they was practicing righteousness. So, in each tribe and each generation, only 12,000 from each generation gonna be saved. Now it's getting a little bit more serious, isn't it? Now this got a little bit more serious. So people thinking they can sit there and do anything they want to do, because I know I got your attention now. I know I have your attention. So we're going to look at it a little bit more. We're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to go to 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 18. We're going to pick up a little bit more and understand something even Peter said. So what we're going to see what Peter said. We're going to look at verse 18. It says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly in the sinner appear? Okay, so they sitting there thinking they can do whatever they want to do, and they thinking they're going to be saved. And right here, Peter telling you clearly, if the righteous is going to scarcely be saved, what do you think about these ungodly ones? Let's go back to it again. Let's look at it again. I see. Some of it we're not keeping up, and we got to keep the Bible all connected all the time. So let's go back to Matthew chapter 19, pick it up at verse 8, and we're gonna see. He said unto them, what? Because of the hardness of your hearts, you put away your wives. Did anybody get this? Did anybody see what's going on here? We put away the wives. Okay, let's work this out. Let's work this out another way. Okay, we have for the hardness of our hearts, we put away this spirit. Let's look at it on the spiritual side. And meaning this. How? Let's look at this, and we're going to look at this as a whole. Let's do this all the way. This is the only way we can do this, is as a whole. We're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 33. So, let's look at this as a whole to understand what's going on. 31:33. So he says, but this shall be the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law on their inward parts and write it upon their hearts. And will be their God, and they shall be my people. But for the hardness of our hearts, we put their spirits away. Spirits. Meaning what? Let's find out how this works. See, he has one spirit, but he also has a different administration. Let's see all this together, because for the hardness of our hearts, we suffered to put that spirit away. Keep that in mind, and let's see how this works. Let's go. We're gonna go to old Paul, where they should stay out of Paul, because Paul, that's a whole nother question within itself. It says now this. So how the Spirit works is this. It says, and there are differences in administration, but the same Lord. Meaning this. Let's look up at verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed. Yahushua accursed. Meaning what? That no man can say that Yahushua is the Lord by the Holy Ghost. Now, for that reason are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. Wives, gifts, diversities, same Spirit. And there are different administrations, but the same Lord. And in are the diversity of operation, but the same God that works for all in all. You see how that worked all that out? See how all that got worked out? So, with these diversities, but we have worked this and did these things, and we made a vow, and then we put that vow away, and we start marrying to others. Now we know, as we know in Psalms 89:34, let's keep that in mind. We got to keep that in front. Psalms 89:34. Let's keep this in front, because I don't want you to forget this. I'm going to hold you to this, and we're going to look at this all the time. Psalms 89 verse 34. 89:34. It says, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is going out of my lips. So we can't change that. We can't change that at all. Now it tells you this even more so in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 7. It means this. But the manifestation of the Spirit, people thinking it's turning into something, no, but it's being made known of the Spirit, is given to every man to profit withal. Meaning this, you have a spirit of wisdom, it has a spirit of knowledge, it has a spirit of faith, it has a spirit of healing, it has a spirit of working of miracles, it has a spirit of prophecy, it has a spirit of discerning of spirit, it has a spirit of tongues, it has a spirit of interpretation of tongues, but all the same Spirit. You follow that? All the same Spirit. You read this down, it'll tell you all this right here. All of it. It'll say every bit of it right there. But watch what happens. Verse 9. And I say to you, who shall ever put away his wife, except it be for fornication. That's what we're doing. We're out there fornicating with dang spirits. And shall be married to another, committed adultery. Aren't you married to God? Yeah, do it. We're supposed to be married to Christ, God's Spirit. However, we're out there fornicating with who? We done put away that one. So when we did this, and whoso marry her which is put away doeth commit adultery. So this is why it even says it in that way. This is why the disciples even said this in that way manner. And the disciples said unto him, if the case of the man be also with his wife, it is not good to marry. Man, I didn't know it had to go down like that into death, bro. Yeah, I didn't know it had to go like that. Why? Because this is what he's saying. We put away the spirit to fornicate like whores, being lovers of ourselves, being lovers of other wives, committing adultery, because we say, men say the law is done away with, which is nothing but an unadulterated lie. So if you want to be a whore, be a whore. But stop lying on God and say God, all the law is done away with. Get away from that. See, we like to sit there and lie on God and, well, he got rid of all the commandments. No, he didn't. But we're gonna dig into that. We're gonna go a little bit deeper in that. But we want to look at things to understand what people have done. Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 31. And it tells you this. It says, I come, and they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. Really. They hear my word, but they won't never do them. This is what he's saying. This is God speaking what we're not doing. Before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love. Tell me we don't do that. Tell me we don't do that. We show all kind of love with our mouths. Oh, Lord God, oh, you crying and everything. Oh, Lord God. But their heart goeth after their covetousness. Just lying. We just lying through our teeth to God. Let's look at it a little bit more. Let's go to Psalms. We're going to pick it up. Psalms chapter 78. 78 and pick it up at verse 36. All this we want to show to understand. We're going to take this long walk to where we just can get this all together. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lie unto him with their tongues. See, this is our problem. That's why he said it ain't good to marry. Why? Because he's just lying through our teeth. See, I'm going to show you the Old Commandments. We're going to look at this and we're going to break them down. Let's look at the Old Commandment. Let's go to Exodus. And we're going to see this. Exodus chapter 20. Now, this is where we're going to understand. This is where we're saying what? 20 verse 1. He said, and Yahweh spoke all these words, saying, what did he say? I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of bondage unto the house, out of the house of bondage, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So, this is in the commandments. So now we're saying God, he didn't do that anymore. He didn't do that. That don't wait. God, no, that ain't good anymore. So that's one. Remove that, because we saying it's done away with, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's look at verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Take that out the way, because that's in the law. Get that out the way. We can have all the gods we want. That's another one. The law is done away with. We ain't got to do that no more. Verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath, under the earth. Okay, that's done away with. We can do whatever we want to do. Because guess what? That law done away with. So we can make whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. And why he even got this here? Because that's done away with. Let's go a little bit more. Thou shalt not bow thyself down. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord thy God. I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity upon the fathers, upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So guess what? We don't hate you as what they want to say, God. We love you, but we ain't got to do that and stop being jealous. They said the law done away with, didn't they? Didn't they say the law done away with? This is done. All this what I'm reading so far, all this is done away with. And they saying they can't do this. These laws right here is too impossible to do. But he got more. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Now we ain't got to do your commandments anymore, because as they say, we're under grace. We're under grace. Let's look at it. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold them guiltless that take his name in vain. Now, Lord, we can take your name in vain because we ain't under the law. We're under grace. This is in the law. We don't have to do this. This is old commandments. This is what they say the Levites had to do. You ain't got to do it. You're starting to see the silliness. But it gets better. It gets way better than this, because we're going to keep going down. We're going to keep going down. Verse 8, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. No, Lord, you got dumb Jakes sitting there saying, well, I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You just a big dumb knucklehead. We ain't got to do this. He removed this. And you got many dummies following him. Many of them following him. 6 days shall thou labor and do thy work. But on the 7th day is the Sabbath in the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not do any work there, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger is within the gates. No, we under grace now. We can do what we want to do. We don't change. Actually, I want to tell you what, God, come here, God. Let me talk to you. Let me drop a taste on you, God. See, because this is how they're gonna talk to God. Let me, God, come here. Yeah. Come here, God. Yeah. Tell you what. Sabbath day don't work for me. Sabbath day just don't work for me. I can do it on Sunday. Can't do it on Saturday. Can't do it. Just can't do it. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because normally what I do, I take the kids to baseball, back to basketball practice. I do a couple of things, hey, God, you know the way we run. Yeah, you've been looking down. I know you've been watching me. You've been watching. So God, we under grace. But be cool, bro. Okay, verse 11. For 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday. Okay, that's you, bro. That's you. See, that's how you talk. See, when you sit there and you disobey, you under grace. So you can do what you want to do now. That's what this says, right? This is what they're saying is too hard to do, that no man can do it. But let's get down to verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee. Now you ain't got to do that no more. You ain't under the law. You under grace. You ain't under the law. Go, rotate what you do. Go slap your mama and slap your daddy. See how you come out. You ain't got to honor them. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. See, they say these are too hard to do. You ain't got to do these. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. I'm telling you, it gets better. Watch this. Verse 13. Thou shalt not kill. Oh, please. We can go kill all we want to now. We ain't got to. We under grace. We under grace. We ain't got to do that. These are too hard to fulfill. So he had to come and fulfill the law. So Yahweh came and he fulfilled, and he just didn't kill nobody. So now we can go kill because now we're under grace. But it gets better. Verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Oh. We can go and just be a natural born hoe. And this is adultery. This is messing with married. We can be natural born hoes. Tell me, the law done away with. Let's go to 50. Thou shalt not steal. Somebody need to tell my Uncle Noble about that one. See, because then they owe me some whoopings back. I need to get some reparations for them whoopings I took with me and my brother. And I will tell you the story, but my brother don't like me telling that story. But we learned how to steal one day, and we got corrected that same day. We had the shortest stealing career in history, for we should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. But here, we under grace, so we should have been able to steal. But he ain't even done yet. thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. So now you can bear false witness. All this, they saying you couldn't, it's impossible to keep. But now you can do it. But it gets better. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor his asses, nor anything but thy neighbor. Now you can covet all of it. You can run on and try to get a hold of it as much as you want. You can get a hold of it as much as you want. And wait a minute, we ain't done with the commandments. We ain't done with them because we can break them all now because we ain't breaking them. We under grace. We're under grace, right? Let's keep it. Let's keep it that way. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. Because this one we ain't got to do either. Here go the main commandment. It says, now Israel, what do the Lord thy God require of thee? He get ready to break this down. But to fear the Lord thy God and walk in all his ways, we ain't got to do that no more. That's done away with. To love him, we ain't got to love you. We under grace. To serve the Lord thy God in all thy heart and all thy soul. We ain't got to do that. To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which he commanded us this day for thy good? No. We ain't got to do that no more. So what is going on here? So it required us was to love him and to do what? Let's look at it. Let's look at something. Let's go to Galatians and let Brother John tear this down for you a little bit. We're gonna go to Galatians chapter 5 and pick it up at verse 22. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, and against such there is no law. So since there ain't no law, we ain't got to do them. But we got a problem. We got a problem because it says this here. We can't move stuff away. So we need to find out what's going on. Let's go to Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6 again and look at this real good. For I am the Lord, I change not. I am the Lord, I change not. So if we are under grace, we need to know what is the new commandments. So we can all be above board because we ain't got to do the old ones. So what is the new commandment? Because we don't have to do the old ones. See, this is what Christian doctrine teach. So what is the new commandment? Let's look at it. Let's look at this and get an understanding. Let's go. Let's go to Mark. And while we're here, Yahweh shall speak, right? We're going to do at least do that. Let's go back down to verse 29. Mark chapter 12, verse 29. Let's see what the new commandments are. It says, and Yahweh shall answer them, the first of all the commandments, hear, O Israel. Didn't we just read that over in Deuteronomy? The Lord your God is one Lord. We just read that. We just read this. Wait a minute. We got problems. We got problem. We got problems. Why? Because we just read this. We just read it. So I had to put it over where we could see this again. But the main thing is, watch this. Watch what he says here. Here is it. The Lord is one Lord. But watch what he says here. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and all thy strength. This is the first commandment. So that's a new one. Is that the new one? Is that the new one? Let's go back over to 10:12. Let's look at this, because we're saying the same thing. So that's the new commandment, but we just want to make sure. It says, and now Israel, do the Lord thy God require thee to fear the Lord thy God and walk in all his ways, love him and serve him, and the Lord thy God will with all your heart and all your soul. So it's saying the same thing. It's saying the same thing. So what is the new commandment? What is the new commandment? So what about this? Thou shalt love God. It's all the same. But let's look at something else. We're gonna go to Hebrews. Let's go to Hebrews. Let's do New Testament right now, because they're gonna always hit you on New Testament. So we're gonna go to Hebrews chapter 13. We're gonna pick it up at verse 8. It says, Yahweh Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So he's the same. He meaning the same what? So what is this saying? This is saying salvation, anointed ones, the same yesterday and today and forever. Meaning this. What do it mean? Let's see what do it mean. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22, pick it up at verse 14. It says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they have a right to the tree of life, and may enter through the gates into the city. Okay, that's all cool. That's all fine, well, and good. We understand that, but we need to understand what this is talking about. We need to understand what this is saying. What is this saying? So let's look at this. Let's look at this as a whole. Let's go to, and we're going to look at something a little bit deeper. We're going to look at something a little bit deeper. Let's go to 1 John. 1 John chapter 2. Pick it up at verse 7. He says here, brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment which ye had from the beginning. The old commandment, which is the word which you have heard from the beginning. Interesting. So we heard this from the beginning. We heard this from the beginning. So the commandments, which was the old one, which we have from the beginning. So we need to understand what these are. So what is the new commandment? We need to understand what are the new commandments. What are they? And here they are right here. We're going to look at this. We're going to go to John. We're going to go to verse 13. We're going to look at this in verse 34. Got to look at it. John 13, verse 34. And it tells you right here. It says, a new commandment. We got them here. Okay, this is where we got it at. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as comparing I have loved you, that ye also love one another. Meaning what? So if we love one another the same as God loved us, meaning the vow that he made to us, and we were commanded to do his commandments, he commanded us that we do what? We got to piece everything together. We got to piece everything together. Let's go to Revelation chapter 5 and verse 22 and pick it up again. So he's telling us to love him, love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So we need to use that fruit of the Spirit. So we need to spirit of love. We need to have joy with our neighbor. We need to have peace with our neighbor, long suffering. We need to be showing gentleness, goodness, and faith in them. We need to have meekness, temperance with them. Are you following me? That's new commandment. I tell you right there. A new commandment I write unto you, but it's the same commandment which you have from the beginning. But he is telling you right here, he's just reiterating it, making it new to you. Because evidently we was too hard-headed to see it. Meaning this, when we go to Exodus, same thing, and we got to remember, we have to obey his voice. So in Exodus chapter 5, verse 19, verse 5, it tells us what? It tells, now therefore, if we obey his voice indeed and keep his covenant, you should be able to procure a treasure above all people. So we obey his word. He said, new commandment that you love one another. Show this love, joy, peace, happiness to your brother. And we actually agreed to it because it says all the people answered together and said all that the Lord said, we would do. All that the Lord has spoken, we will do. All that he's spoken, we will do. So it gets here, and same thing, he goes back to Mark 12:31, which shows you the same thing. So all that he said we would do, and as I said, the second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other greater commandment greater than these. So that first commandment, we just supposed to be, we have to love our Lord thy God, so we have to keep all his commandments. We just see them in what we're supposed to be doing. So with that, what we're supposed to be doing, now when we're looking at the new commandments, and what he's saying, now that old one, you still got it. But now I also want to make sure you love your neighbors, you love yourself. So the law, and not the law of disobedience. So you got to love thy neighbor to be in the law. Can you have joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance? And as he said, he made this clear in John. In John. Meaning what? He made this clear in John. So in 1 John chapter 2, verse 7, he made this perfectly clear. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment which you had from the beginning. The old commandment, which is the word which you have heard from the beginning. Now you're starting to see how this is working out. So the old commandment is the new one, but God wants us to love one another. So what is the problem here? But now people want to see these different lifestyles and different things. They want to destroy their brothers and sisters based on what? Based on a truth or a falsity. Let's go to John. Let's look at something. John chapter 8. Pick it up at verse 40. And it tells us here, it says, but now ye seek to kill me, a man have told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This is not did Abraham. So you get the truth, but seeking things of God, did not Abraham we claim we are from? Do not we claim this? Do not we claim that we're from Abraham? Verse 41, ye do the deeds of your father. However, you doing deeds from another and not the deeds that Abraham did. Meaning this, verse 42. If God were your father, ye would love me, for I proceed forth and came from Yahweh, neither came I of myself, but he sent me. So if we're becoming as servants of God and being brothers and sisters, and we proceeding from God, you would love the messengers. But you're not going to love them. I'm going to tell you why. You're not going to understand them. You're not going to understand spiritual sayings. You're not going to understand spiritual words. You're not going to understand spiritual languages. Why? Because you're not from them. See, it tells you this in verse 42. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. You cannot hear it. Meaning what? See, we got to keep all this in mind and always keep all these intact. Psalms 89:34. So my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing which is gone from my lips. Malachi 3:6. For I am the Lord, I change not. These things we know. But he said this and he made something perfectly clear, and people fail to realize what's going on. We're going to go here and we're going to look at it because he tells you in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. He made this clear, but people sit there and they find another. They find another. 3:15, he said, I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. He's going to give you pastors according to his heart, which is going to feed you with knowledge and understanding. People don't take that. They give you doctrines of men. But he tell and he do something that we always got to remember. You keep this in mind and never forget it. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18. Let's look at something. 18:18. He said, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee. Excuse me. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak all them that I shall command him. Really? Did he do anything different back then that he's doing today? See, these are the questions that you need to ask yourself and also question the Bible. See, man was brought up from among their brethren to speak the word of God because the Spirit of the Lord rested upon them, and you need to see how this works. You need to see how this works. Let's look at something. Let's look at something. We've got to look at this real good and real close. We're going to go to Numbers. We're going to go to chapter 11, verse 25. And this is where people get nervous. People start having issues. 25, it says, And the Lord came down in a cloud, and spake unto him, and took of the Spirit which was upon him, who was upon Moses, and gave it unto 70 elders. And it came to pass, when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. Really? Really? So, if he did this and he says he's going to give you pastors according to his heart, and these spirits rested upon them, we know this is clear. We know something that is really clear. Malachi 3:6. For I am the Lord, I change not. For that reason ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Meaning what? The Spirit of Moses rested upon 70 elders, even as if today, in different languages over the world over. You don't have fools need to travel from buying them planes and everything else. 70 elders in this world today. Many of them don't have to learn English or another language, or speak another language, teaching the word of God according to God. What did God change? Nothing. He changed nothing, period. This is why the children of Jacob are not dead today from all over the world, because the righteous is in the land of the wicked. And the only because of the righteous, this is need to be done. Meaning this. Let's look at something. Let's look at something and keep this in mind. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 18 and pick up something. And pick up verse 25. And 25. And understand something. And it says, that be far from me after do this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. To slay the righteous with the wicked. This is Abraham speaking to Christ. Trying to save Sodom and Gomorrah. But watch what he says this. So he want to know, are you going to slay the righteous with the wicked? Or are you going to slay them with the wicked ones? Watch this. Shall be far from me, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And he need to respond to this. Because you asked the question, we got to respond to this. And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. All the entire city will be spared just because of those 50. Not because of all the other people, only because of those 50 sakes. And he dwindles this all the way down to 1. Meaning what? So righteous within the land to where what he'd do. So we got to see examples on how this works out. Show you something. To show you how this works out. Let's go to Hebrews to show you the example on what we need to know to figure out what's going on here. So Hebrews chapter 11, picking up at verse 5, it says, by faith Enoch was translated. Enoch was killed. that he should not see death. He shouldn't see this second death. For he was not found, because God has translated him. God killed him to be before he was translated, he had this testimony that he pleased God. That he pleased God. So he took Enoch early. But we got to see how this works. Let's see how this works. So to understand how this works, we got to look in the scriptures, not some theology, but we got to look in scripture to find out how this works. So we're going to go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and pick it up at verse 9. And it says here, by wisdom, keep this in mind always, by wisdom. But wisdom is the gray hair unto men. But wisdom unto men with gray hairs, not to God. Keep that in mind. See, wisdom is the gray hairs unto men, not to God. And in unspotted life of old age. Verse 10. He pleased God, who? Enoch, and was beloved of him, so that living among sinners, he was living among sinners, he was translated. He removed him. Enoch was among many of the wicked sinners, because he was living amongst them, and he was more of a simple-minded man, which we're going to find out. Don't worry, the thing I say we're going to see. And he took him, meaning this: if he was a strong-minded, it might have been different. But he was probably more around strong-minded sinners, which he would remain, but by them condemning others according to his life that you live in their sight. However, if you are more simple-minded, then the Most High God will take you from among the wicked, and only them that please God according to his ways, not according to the ways that flesh think that you should to have been living. Meaning what? Let's look at it. Yea, speedily he was taken away, lest the wicked should alter his understanding, or deceit beguile his soul. You see how he's plainly laying this out? Only because those people will be able to alter his understanding. And God wasn't having it. So he chose to take him away, and he would take his chosen, and to leave the wicked there. He don't mind that. That they think that they're still on earth, they think they're the good ones, and really are not. But let's get a little bit more. For the bewitching of naughtiness doeth obscure the things that are honest. Shows like they're confused. And one of the concubines doeth the undetermined undermine the simple mind. Are you serious? You see how Solomon breaking his concubines. Okay, let's break this down and understand what concubines is. It's the wanting and desiring of something. Look at it. This is all it's saying. For the wanting and desires do it undermine the simple. Meaning what? You might see this guy driving around and you practicing righteousness, and you might see this guy driving around in a BMW or a Porsche or a Bentley or something that you desire and you want. And you will alter your understanding to find ways to achieve it. That is not good. Because of your desires and wants. You want to covet something. Now you see what he's saying here. Undermine the simple. Verse 13. He, being made perfect in a short time, fulfills a long time. This is what he did. So many, in a short time, some of his chosen, some of them being taken by God early, fulfilling a lifetime that most people think one must have to please God, take them a lifetime, 80, 90, 100 years, and they don't. Not knowing the heart of that person. Many of the wicked, God let them live long, long time, and have a strong mind of his chosen, a lot of them will live long. But his simple mind was that's fulfilling his commandments. If he there around so much of the wicked, he'd take them. But let's look at some more. For his soul pleased the Lord, therefore hasted to take him away from among the wicked. So the only way he can remove him from the way of the wicked, on the way that God does, for the simple mind, God take him away. Meaning what? He translate them from among the wicked, from around you, a child, a friend, a husband, a wife, all that's around being simple-minded, the ones of his chosen according to God, which many will say they know. But if they truly not know the precepts of God and understand his language of God, you're wasting your time trying to figure out that way of God. This the people saw and understood it not, neither laid it up in their minds that his grace and mercy is with his saints, and that he had respect unto his chosen. His respect unto his chosen? Dude, I got to pull you out. I got to take you out, man. I got to take you from among them. Yeah, come on, dude. Yeah, don't worry about it. You'll be all right. You see, one will die or to death and not understand why. And it was with God and why the time of that time. But some think bad, people being killed, or can't figure out how they died and why they died in that way, and not understand why of why this person. All because they do not understand the grace and mercy of God. God have respect unto his chosen, not clearing them for the sins in referencing what you see in Numbers 14. Actually, let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers 14 and 18. We got to come back over there, though. 14, we're going to look at 18. I just want to show you. I want to put them side by side. I want you to see it. The Lord is long-suffering, great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression. So we know all this is there. So he's forgiving them, but not clearing them. So meaning this. So thus the righteous that is dead shall condemn the ungodly which are living, and the youth that is soon perfected the many years of the old age of the unrighteous. You see how you flip this all the way around on us? Many of us thinking we can be doing something, but being dead, or they might have felt that they died too early, some of them was his chosen, that he has taken early. Some could fall out of a plane, got shot, had cancer, died in many different, any kind of different ways, choked on something. I don't care how they died. He might have did this to take them early. Not knowing the manner, not knowing the manner of the death, and nothing has to do with what you think, or you thought you did not matter with God. Died is no matter how, but their death in condemning the ungodly of the living. They should have died this way, what they say. They should have died this way. Now, all of a sudden, they should have died to the way that you think was righteous. Silliness. You think what they died was righteous, which was nothing more but silliness. That's all you thinking. Because they simple minds and they died early, then all of a sudden you think that, oh man, they were doing this, they were doing that. And you saying how they should have died. Verse 17, they shall see the end of the wise and shall not understand what God in his counsel have decreed of him, and what end of the Lord has set him safely. They don't have no idea. They don't have the slightest idea what is going on. The stupidity that people will sit there and they try to tell you on the manner of death that person should have died. Now they playing God. Man, that's so bad the way he died, man. Yeah, man, the Lord must have been really punishing him. Dude, now you God. That's senseless. Verse 18, they shall see him and despise him, but God shall laugh them to scorn. He's going to laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be vile carcass and a reproach among the dead forevermore. Meaning what? God gonna hook you up, and then he gonna laugh at your butt. Thank you. I'm gonna tell you. Let's go to Psalms chapter 1, verse 26. Let's look at it. He's saying this. He said, I also will laugh at your calamity and will mock when your fear comes. He's going to hit the ground on you. This is what God's going to do. He's going to think is when you sitting there praying, oh, Lord, help me, Lord, help me, Lord, help me. He's going to be dying laughing at you. Cracking up what you have done. Why? Because we sit there and think just because this person died in their love that they is wrong. Your jokes will be a joke. You have the life model of a zombie, following up to make sure you can hit that second death. All because you don't understand the word of God. Taking everything literal. Everything is literal to you. Nothing is spiritual. Common sense tells you two things. Common sense tells you two things. Meaning this. Let's look at something. Let's go to John. Let's go to John, and we want to look at chapter 5. Chapter 5, drop down to 22. It says what? For the Father judges no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son, unto the servant, Christ. He committed all judgment unto Christ. So if Christ is not in you, you're an enemy. You're an enemy to God. If you think that you can go do whatever you feel you want to do and hang out the way you want to hang out and continue to do what you want to do, and Christ is not in you, it's a wrap. Verse 23, all men should honor the Son, the servant. That's all it's saying. Even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the servant, the Son, honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. So I'm saying this to say that. And the Bible says that to say this. So we have to look at this all as a whole. So chapter 4. Pick it up at verse 22. It says, accept no person against thy soul. Accept no person against thy soul. Meaning what? Meaning what? And let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall. Are you serious? Do you know how many people call this reverend this, reverend that, reverend this? See, this is the problem. Let me pull this up. This is one I'm gonna add this to it. I just want to add this to it. Let's go back to Solomon, and we're gonna look at I'm gonna have them side by side to where we can clearly see what's going on. Let's go back to Solomon. We're gonna look at something. Solomon chapter 2, verse 10. So we can have them side by side. Side by side. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of age. Didn't get that, did you? See, what we do, we have a lot of fools out there who call themselves, they want to call themselves all these names. They want to call themselves elders. They want to call themselves bishops. They want to call themselves reverends. They want to call themselves preachers. They want to call themselves ministers. showing them signs, and they want them to show you signs of this respect, gestures of respect. One that will bow, calling them by the title of their honor. Just because they're older, some just because they're in the building and they want to call it a church, doesn't mean that they have the knowledge of God. You can go into church and they, oh no, my name is Bishop this or Bishop, he's a fool. And you reverencing him in that way, and he's not a God, and you referencing him as if he is a man of God, you're a fool. We don't reverence no man as that manner. There's no reason to sit there to hold someone at a title saying they're for God and not for God. Did you follow me? We'll reverence people just based on that, and they're not speaking of God. They're holding the titles of men. These are the things we got to remember. See, because this is why we have to understand what God said. See, just because they look like what they should be, doesn't mean that they are what they should have been. See, because in Romans chapter 9, verse 6, it says, not as though the word of God has taken none effect. For they are not all Israel. They're not all Israel, which are of Israel. They can still be of Israel, but they're not all Israel. They're not all Israel. Meaning this, Romans chapter 11, and pick it up at verse 26. Makes this clear. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodly from Jacob. Meaning Christ is going to separate from the godly from the ungodly. Again, what is the new commandment? What is the new commandment? We've seen it, we understood it, we understand what it's saying. Leviticus chapter 19, we're going to look at verse 18. We're going to see some of it, some of the remnants of it. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against thy children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Always here. Always here. We're not trying to avenge nor grudge against our brother of God's people, but love thy neighbor within Israel. So what we're doing the same thing as fighting like Crips and Bloods. Crips and Bloods. The first thing we want to say is this. He was good, but before he died, he accepted God. He accepted Jesus before he died. Really? Did he just say it with his mouth because he was now on his deathbed? Are you saying these things now because you're right at near death? You didn't live your life, but now you want to, well, you got about 2 seconds left, and you just want to say with your mouth, time out. See, God said this from the beginning. And we see it, I'm showing it to you. So the same as he said right here in Mark. Chapter 12, pick it up at verse 30. He make everything clear, but we don't understand what's going on. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. Those are the commandments. Those are what we should be doing. As he says in Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. If you obey my voice and keep my covenant. And if you're doing contrary to this, you're doing contrary to your neighbor. You're doing these. You're doing the works of the flesh, not the works of the spirit, because you got to worship God in spirit and in truth. But you're going to be doing them in flesh. You're going to be doing adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, ill emotion. You're going to be doing all these things against your people. So what are we to do? So as he said, and he made this clear in John chapter 13, verse 34. John 13:34, and he made this clear. Again, we're going to go through this. John 13:34, and it says this: A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. So you remember those. And remember these couple as we go out. Mean what? Mean this. Don't sit there and trust no man. They'll sit there and lie to you all day long. So we go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11, and it says this. It says that ye study to be quiet, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we command you. Study the word of God, not the doctrine of men, and handle your business. And handle your business. And handle your business. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Study to show thyself approved. Study to show yourself approved. Not trying to be men pleasers. Rightly dividing the word of God. So brothers, sisters, you have it. You know these. And as we close, these are the two things that you remember. 1 John chapter 2, verse 7. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment which you have from the beginning, and the old commandment which is the word which you have heard from the beginning. And you remember this as you close out. Revelation chapter 22, verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they have right to the tree of life, and they may enter through the gates into the city. Those are the things that we have. Those are what we need to be doing. So you tell me, which is the new commandment that you cannot do? This is what they say. This is what people say they can't do. But this is how it goes. So hopefully that you guys got some understanding there. Now you know what is the old commandments and what are the new commandments. You can see what the old commandment, what they're saying they cannot do. But now you see it made no sense. So what I'm going to do, I did forget to put up the link for Zoom for questions. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a Zoom right now. And have people where I'm going to post it over here in the comment area, and do it, and I'm doing this right now, but I'm gonna post a link. Let me see. I gotta post a link here. Where is that link? If I can get this one part, 1 second. If I can find this part, let me see. I got it started, but where is it? I'll tell you, I might have to do it the other way. I think I got to do it the other way. I got to start it. Let me set it up and start one. Let me do it that way. It'll be simpler. Because right now, it's not letting me see the labeling for it to where I can put the post in there. So let me do it that way. That'll be a lot simpler for me. And excuse me. Yeah. Way simpler. So let me end this. Let me end that one. And exit meeting. Yeah. Now let me go over here to the other one. And I'm going to post up the other one. Let me do that. That'll be simpler. Way simpler. And I can post it up. And let's go in and 1 second. And that is clear. And let me see. And let me do this. Let me get this set. Once this is set, and I have it. So now let me post that in here to where we can have it. Let me see here. This here is not doing it right. And let me see, 1 second. If I can get to there real quick. And I'm getting there real quick, 1 second. And I'm gonna post that in here the way you guys can get to it. That's all I'm doing right now. And I have in the settings, okay, so if you look in the description right now, I just posted the, oh wait a minute, I gotta take out part of it. Let me see. You can click on the go in the description, you can refresh your screen. You should see in the description where you should see the link to Zoom, to where you can go into Zoom right now, and I'll be back there where I can answer any questions for you. 1 second. Yeah, it's actually in there, and yeah, everything's there. So if you look in the description, you go in the description right now. You can actually click on the description and you'll see the Zoom link right there. So that's there. So hopefully that you guys got some understanding from this. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this one. And we're going to go into the next, we're going to go into Zoom where we answer all questions. And if you have any questions, go over to Zoom. If not, we're going to cut them here, because now we're going to start cutting them, and all questions will always be answered in Zoom. So with that, I'll say to each and every person, you can go over, the link is down in the description. Other than that, you can go over to Zoom and you can ask me anything you like. Okay, with that, I say shalom.